I'm really pleased today to be joined by Phil Beechener here in Horsham, where we're going to be talking all about the installer and how to attract more installers to the industry. So Phil has 40 years experience in KBB and particularly installation, and we're going to be talking about some smart ideas to share with you. We hope you enjoy. Phil, when and why did you get into the KBB industry?
So I started on the tools, did that for probably 15 years, then gradually went into project management, across into sales, and then everything that all encompasses running a business.
So have you got any advice when the customer pulls a chair up in the kitchen to watch the installer?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. What about selling a kitchen to a retired engineer, Phil? How do you feel about that?
Yes, not my favourite client, no.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, so no, but that's the beauty of this industry, that you meet all sorts and no two customers are the same.
That's right.
And there's a lot of diversity, and every job is different.
So looking around this fantastic showroom here in Horsham, what makes Alexander Kitchens different to a competitor?
Basically, the history, the longevity, but aside from that, we offer a all-encompassing quotation that not only do we deal with good products and good manufacturers, we have our own in-house installation team, so we cover everything plumbing, electric, ancillary work, and it's all done under one umbrella and it's all guaranteed, and it's fully the customer care side of it is ongoing.
So at what point do you tell the customer when they come in this showroom this information? When do they get told all this?
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
We always ask a customer from a marketing aspect, why did they come to us, what brought them to us today? Yeah. And a lot of it, especially because we've been around for 40 years, is because they knew we were here or they've been recommended, and I would say probably 2/3 of our clients were recommended or knew of us. I think it's just general chit chat. People buy off people. Yeah. I think so. It's one thing saying, yes, this is a nice kitchen manufacturer, this is a nice appliance, but
anyone can say that.
Anyone can say that. Whereas we say we're a local family business. People do like small independents. They do like to know that they're dealing with a local company. They're not going to be put into a queue on the phone because they're dealing with someone in Aberdeen. It's nice that they know that they can walk into the showroom. They've got a friendly face. You almost become friends with a lot of customers because there's the interaction.
Yeah, and do you think a customer would like to buy from a company who invests in people in the industry? That's important.
Most definitely, especially the local areas. I mean, they want to know that they might get into conversation with the installer that their kids go to the same school or they belong to the same golf club or they
the locality.
The locality, and it's very personable.
Yes.
And
can I just pick up on that last point, which I think is a really strong point actually? So in my experience, customers really like to spend money with a family business. So how do you portray that within your marketing, Phil?
It's in our strap line, a family-run business. Okay. So
that could be the advice for somebody else. If that is the heritage of the business, shout about it straight away.
Yes, I think it's not so much if you're buying a TV, it doesn't care where it comes from, and whether it be a massive superstore. But if you're buying a plumber, you want to know that they're not travelling from Timbuktu to get to you. You want to know that they're local. You want to know that they're and they've done work around your area.
They're trusted. Yeah.
And you'll tend to find that we've got a fleet of vehicles and they're always bombing around and they see them parked in their road, and that's a favourite one as well. I've seen you in the area. And the family business is, I don't think that's be all and end all. It just means we're local.
How does Alexander ensure the customer's fit is completed on time and within budget?
We have an independent installation company which is run as part of Alexander's, and it's organisation. I think it needs to be surveyed properly. We've got 2 project managers. we've got a remedial team, and we've got 2 girls in customer care. And I think it's the customer care people will coordinate the installation along with the project managers, but also be the link to the customer. So the client always knows what's happening. Yeah. If they've got any questions, there's always someone at the end of the phone that's actually designated to that client, so they're not ringing and on hold forever. And I think in order for it to stay on budget, it's just keeping the right people in the right place at the right time.
What advice can you give people about remedial items and how important they are?
It's key. We only 4 or 5 years ago, we took on a remedial guy, which was an expense to the company. We were trying to get the fitter on his way home to replace the door or call in, and they never did. They forgot, and we were waiting until they were in the area. And then, the key thing was we just got an ex-kitchen installer, bit the bullet, and it's his job to oversee some of the projects, but again,
get things finished.
You don't need people chasing you.
Is it good practice and advice to offer, Phil, where you could maybe even say to a customer, I'm sure that you don't say it as directly as this, but the kitchen can go wrong, but we will put it right?
Yes, well, not in those terms. I mean, we will say, once the bill has been paid, they've still got an ongoing service. Right. And when the job is finished, the designer will go out, take a bottle of something and say thank you very much. They always want to see the finished article, and part of the PR there is to say that you still get an ongoing service. We call every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months and 12 months. As a part of our customer care package to see if there's any problems. Most people don't want to be hounded, but they will say, look, next time someone's passing, my door needs adjusting, and we'll send someone along. And
how would you advise getting customers to write in or even give a video testimonial to how happy they are with the finished project? How do you encourage that?
That's the final visit. So when we go out on the final visits, and that's when we then decide where we want to take any photographs. If they are a really nice installation, there's a third party we involve to photograph them. They're proud of that.
People like to talk about it.
They do. Yeah. We've got all our vans, we've got like 20 sign written back, but they've all got recent installations on the side. So we pride ourselves that they're not brochure shots, they're actually fitted kitchens, and then the customers do like the fact, I see my bathroom driving around. And then we are. So if you are that pleased, if you are happy, you're standing here saying we are, please write a review. Some do, some don't. Everyone's busy these days. Of course, and so a lot of people say they will. We have got quite a few on our.
So your I guess if I understand you is that you're asking a face-to-face question, are you happy to write a review about us? Do you have anything with technology that you use or social media where you're sending links to customers per se?
Not really.
Face-to-face.
We're face. So we once the job has gone through the customer care and through the system, then the designer is appointed to go back. So then we go around, and they're always pleased to see us, and if they weren't pleased to see us, then they probably wouldn't write a nice review. So we're very lucky like that.
Go back to potholes again.
But the whole construction industry is in dire straits, really.
But if someone said to you, today, Phil, we'd like you to potentially review taking an apprentice, maybe even in the business, like a level 3 business administration assistant, would you know what to do next?
Yes and no. I mean, I've got a little bit of experience. I think there's 2 arms to this. See, to get somebody within the sales side, within the showroom, is probably a little bit easier because you can sit down, you can mentor them, you can leave them to do tasks, and then gradually they could work on planning. Planning could, going back, I've got 2 guys that have worked for me for 25 years, and they both started off as apprentices, and neither of them are doing what I asked them to do in the first place. One is running MasterFit, one is started off as a bookkeeper, and now he's heading up the installation side of it, and another guy I think he came in as an admin role, and now he's a very successful bathroom designer and salesman. So that is an area that you can adapt the skill set, and it's within the environment. Whereas on the construction side, you either tend to go in at an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter or with a role, and then you then sort of diversify a little bit, and then you find your niche, and you tend to keep to that to a point.
Keep to niche.
But it does need it does need addressing.
Yeah, I think you spoke about schools and education starting there first, but I guess it's almost like training trainers. So when somebody's at school and they're a careers advisor, do they really understand the benefits of an apprenticeship over going to university? And do they really understand what we do here around us? And I think that's a key part of it, isn't it?
I don't think they can do. I mean, it's very rewarding. I mean, you've got so many elements to the kitchen industry or the bathroom industry. You've got from design to installation to logistics to project management to obviously running the business. There's all of that, accountancy, everything. So it encompasses all sorts, but they just, the youngsters might frown upon it because I don't want to be a builder. You know, they don't necessarily get it, but they would love to play on a CAD design and get the kitchen. And it is
pictures.
Being a managing director is good and bad in equal measures. So you get all the benefits if you come up with a fantastic design, the customer loves it, it looks brilliant, it can be in the paper, it can look fantastic, and then you'll get, you know, the day-to-day mundane things that go on with running a business. But I still get a buzz of selling, you know, a nice kitchen or a nice development on a building site, and a customer telling me that they're really pleased with it, or whether it's not me, it's one of my colleagues that have done it. But it's very rewarding, and it's all different. So you're always going to a different place, dealing with different people. It's not necessarily getting on a train, going to London, and that's what a lot of them would do. They go to university, they get a job in London, and they sit on the train for 4 hours a day, going backwards and forward. Of course, they'll be well paid for it, but there's a work-life balance, isn't there?
That's very true. Yeah.
The good thing with our business is you're local, steady sort of 8 till 4 or 9 till 5 job. You know, they get the weekends most of the time, and they get and it gives them other skills within their home environment. You know, their DIY skills, what they do around the home. It gives them access to all sorts of benefits within the construction industry.
So we mentioned there about, and I get what you said earlier. How can a careers advisor possibly know about the intricacies of the kitchen and bathroom business? I get that. How do we then engage with schools, and who should pay for that?
Well, maybe that comes back to the levy, you know, somewhere within the CITB or some other form of tax that's, you know, that's got to support it. But they've got to understand it. Now, everyone has got a kitchen, everyone has got a bathroom, so it's not understanding IT or finance or something. People can relate to what we do.
Yeah. Do you think, on that relating to what we do you think that it's, you know, the current way of communication for young people and upskilling and apprenticeships is typically by emails and by websites and researching information, but do you think that we're missing a trick here? Maybe the better way is maybe the old-fashioned way, the face-to-face conversations.
I'm a people person. I mean, I don't know whether this goes back to COVID, but I've seen a definite trend away from that. Even working from home, we've got a few home workers because it's deemed that they don't need to be in the office. But I don't think you integrate with people. I don't think you, you know, you can bounce off one another with, you know, information. I'm not a massive fan, but I do understand that there are circumstances where people have got young families or, you know, or can be work remotely. You know, I know a guy that's got a designer that lives in Yorkshire, you know, and it works well for him, you know. So I'm not discounting it, but I do think face to face and kitchens.
Yes.
From a sales perspective, it has to be face to face. And installation, the beauty of what we do, you can't buy it on the internet. You cannot buy a plumber kitchen all coordinated and to install your kitchen off the internet. So they're always going to want our service.
Yes.
So and it's all our service is always going to be there. The AI is coming in. There's a lot of things that are going to be taken away in years to come, but you're always going to need plumbers, carpenters, and electricians.
Yeah, I can't fit a kitchen today. It might be able to draw you a kitchen.
No, that's right. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe quicker. That's debatable, but or better. That's debatable too. But they can't fit it.
No.
In the trade press, we often see and read conversations around the word apprentice. Do you think that an apprentice kitchen and bathroom installer should be called something different, or do you think that that's absolutely fine and by changing it won't attract any new people in?
It's a tricky one, that one, because a lot of other industries would call them an intern, wouldn't they?
Intern,
wouldn't they?
Yeah.
If you went to a hospital or into sort of marketing or IT or something like that, you wouldn't have an apprentice marketing. There would be an intern with a business. But I guess if you were to Google it, there's trainee, there's proteges, there's all sorts. But at the end of the day, we all know what an apprentice is. But maybe an apprentice is seen as a menial, so you wouldn't want to necessarily tell your mates you're an apprentice, would you?
Yeah.
Whether it'd be slightly more cool to say I'm an intern.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
But who knows?
You've heard it here today first, folks. We've talked at length about the skills gap and how we can encourage and whose responsibility should it be to encourage people into the industry. Where do you think the manufacturers could help with this conversation?
We're all, obviously we've got a showroom full of products and some of the, all of the products we've got are sizable manufacturers. And I'm sure they have got an infrastructure to come into their companies more from a factory-based thing. But then some of the manufacturers probably will have their own installers. Some of them will subcontract it out onto sites, but they have the finances. So whether that's where some sort of levy comes in, because it all has to be fitted.
Yes, it does.
So there is almost you cannot, unless you can provide this product, it has to go. So whether that's built into the cost to the end user or but I don't know. I think it's.
I guess where I'm coming from, is if there's you and I both aware there are many manufacturers that would be members of institutes or associations, and and they're showing their support for learning and development, training, education, and apprenticeships. But are you aware, Phil? And it's a very good question. Are you aware of any manufacturer that actually, in addition to doing that, which is the right thing to do, themselves personally, in terms of their own marketing, are banging that drum too, to create that awareness in whichever medium? Are you aware of any manufacturers that are doing that?
Ren might do it a little bit, I think.
Interesting.
Only stuff I've picked up on social media, but there's nothing that really jumps out.
There in itself, does that present an opportunity to a manufacturer? So actually, we think what we're listening to with this conversation is probably quite relevant for a more thriving, vibrant future. So maybe there's an opportunity for a manufacturer to shout about how you hire an apprentice, perhaps more than they're doing so today. Would you agree with that?
I would, but then they'd be hiring them to come into there, and it wouldn't necessarily help me, would it? It might help people come into the industry.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
I think, but it would create awareness.
That's right. Yeah.
I think it just. Awareness is the key factor here. Youngsters need to be aware there is another opportunity because school leavers are now 18, aren't they? They used to be 16, so then they've got to stay at school another couple of years, and then what do they do after that? The opportunities are they go out to work, they go travelling, or they go to university, and they need to be told that there are apprenticeship schemes.
These are the options.
I mean, there are apprenticeship degrees within other industries, and so whether there needs to be something built around the construction industry.
I mean, that was an interesting point you just mentioned there about how does the manufacturer, how will it help me or you as, or let's say colloquially the industry, independent retailers. But I guess if manufacturers had, the time to review how they could provide information to companies such as yourselves, Phil, about how to hire that apprentice and what grants are available in that specific sector, that's got to be a benefit.
Of course it has.
So today is all about talking installation, because I think this is the part that I don't think we talk about enough really, and it's so key. So do you think within the trade press, so let's say we get our different trade press, whether it be a printed copy or an online version, talking about the industry, do we give as a trade press, or let's say the PR companies, do they give by their manufacturers enough airspace to the life and the role of an installer and the trials and tribulations and the opportunities that present? Do we give installers enough airspace, Phil?
Probably not. I mean, probably more than you used to, or used to happen. I mean, obviously, because I've got a bit of a passion for the installation side, I tend to be aware of it a bit more, and I tend to on social media and looking at the press, I'm looking for that sort of stuff. I do, but overall, I mean, there are like the BI, KBB, that's installer based, and they're trying to recognise that, and they have the awards, and they're trying to publicise it, and so they should. But a lot of the marketing is and because of the manufacturers subscribing to it, they're trying to promote these covers are for this manufacturer, and this is a so-and-so's oven with that manufacturer's floor with that worktop, and this picture looks really, really great. But it doesn't say it was actually installed by Fred and his team. It's just normally just telling you about the product.
Yes, absolutely. And I guess, I think you mentioned earlier, we talked about TikTok, where this is the medium where, let's say, traditionally the younger people are. So maybe as a suggestion, I don't know whether you agree with this, that perhaps, that we could promote more about the role of an installer on such a platform. What would you think about that?
Oh, definitely. I think people like stories, and I do follow a few people that do that, and they've got, they're on Instagram and so about their daily installs, and the other thing is, even on LinkedIn and places like that, there's the £50,000 kitchens that were designed with fantastic products, and they look $1 million, but you don't see so many of the everyday run-of-the-mill ones. But those people that fit that, they were as proud of that, because they're a one-man band, as the person for a multi-million-pound company. And I don't think that gets the sort of the praise.
So maybe your advice is, even if you're a kitchen retailer actually, or you're looking at potential trade publications, let's talk about a success story where an installer has done a really good job, because you and I both know that a very inexpensive kitchen can look exceptionally good if it's fitted really, really well. And maybe we could give more case studies, which would then maybe capture young people's imaginations to want to become a kitchen or bathroom fitter.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I do think that a young installer setting out that's just mitred his first worktops or just fitted his first kitchen, it might be basic to you and I looking at it, but he's proud of that. He's done that all on his own, and it's his first kitchen, and he's being paid, and the customer's happy. Whereas we might look at that and say, well, okay, it's a little bit of a boring L shape, but to him it's not. So, and that's welcoming the youngsters into it and patting them on the back. It's a bit like, as an analogy, I live near Worthing, and you'll get people running along the seafront, and you'll have people running really fast, but then you'll have someone running there, slow, little bit overweight maybe, but they're running. They're doing it. And you've got to give them a pat on the back. You're down there, you've taken the time, and it's like the installers, you're out there, you're doing it. You're proud of what you do, you're proud of what you've done, but they're not getting the publicity because it's only the wow factor that seems to get it.
So I think what we're saying there, we're both agreeing that a little bit more publicity could help.
Yeah.
I guess in your career, Phil, you'll be aware of great installers or ones that perhaps aren't as good. People have got great, great conscience to make them do a fantastic job, and some less so. That's just normal. That's human nature. So how do you, as a business, ensure that you obtain quality people that can give quality installation?
You're right, you get people from all walks of life. It seems to be that the ones that have come in an early age, that they've been trained the Alexander way, they will be they've got no bad habits.
Yeah. Where do you get these people from?
The youngsters tend to come with a connection through colleges and done an electrical, plumbing or carpentry course and come into the business. There's others that have come through word of mouth, friends, competitors that have decided that they've worked for a smaller company maybe and they've aspired to work to us, and then we've given them the training. Then it's a case of project management and us policing what the acceptance level is, and when you'll find that you'll have sort of a 50-something come in who's been a one-man band, he's learned too many bad habits, and then he tells you that he thinks this is acceptable, but it's not acceptable because this is the way we want it done. So we're very lucky because we've got a good reputation that we have people coming into us quite regularly, leaving their CVs, and you can tell by a CV if they've jumped around a lot, if they've been around the block. I've worked here for 6 months, there for a year. Well, they're not really sort of the ticket. But
so, by the say, you haven't really had to advertise or go to an external source. People, because of the reputation and the length of establishment, they're coming to you.
Yeah, not for installations. We still have to from a sales and marketing side sometimes, but not for installers.
So that, I guess what you're saying is that by having that, the number of people that are, applying to at one stage, would they be considered to be an installer, you can then be more selective.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would imagine that's purely because of good reputation and the word on the streets that this is the place to work.
I think longevity as well.
We always ask the question at the end of these conversations, so can you, Phil, relay an amusing story that we could all learn from?
It's hard, there's a few over the years. You caught me on the hop a little bit, but one of the funny ones was I remember once fitting a kitchen in Guildford, which is probably an hour and a half away from where I lived at the time, and we finished off and packed up, the job was all done. So drove home, got home, thought I'd just get my tools out of the van, and the cat jumped out.
The cat jumped out the back of the
wagon. The cat jumped out, so it was like, oh no, I don't really like cats, but what shall I do? So
what did you do?
We took it back.
Yeah.
So popped it, this was like 6:30 at night.
You had to grab it
and then drove all the way back, an hour and a half, and gave the cat back. So there's loads of stories over the years, but probably some of them I can't repeat.
So I guess the moral of that story is, in addition to making sure your tools are secure in the back of the wagon, just do a little check before you head off home and make there's no pets in the back that's stowaways.
Yeah.
There you go. Phil Beechner, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So thank you for watching today's special Legends series here with Phil Alexander Kitchens. We hope you will add your comments. We love your comments. If you'd like to receive future notifications on our YouTube channel, you can click the bell icon, and we look forward to releasing more industry-specific information to you soon.